The shuttle docked with a soft hiss. Kang Tae stood up from his seat and grabbed his bag. Beside him, Lee Sora did the same. They looked at each other and shared a small smile. This was it. Their first day as trainees on a real galactic survey vessel. The airlock opened and they stepped onto the Wanderer. The ship was huge. Metal walls stretched in every direction. Lights hummed above them. Aliens of different shapes and sizes walked past, barely giving the two humans a second look. A tall figure waited for them at the end of the corridor. She had blue skin and sharp features. Her eyes were cold, and her posture was perfect. This was Commander Vela of the Karithi species. She looked at the two humans like someone might look at insects. "You are the Earth trainees," she said. It was not a question. "Yes, Commander," Sora replied. "I am Lee Sora. This is Kang Tae. We are honored to serve on your ship." Vela did not respond to the greeting. She turned and walked away. "Follow me. Do not fall behind." Tae and Sora exchanged another look. Then they followed. The commander led them through the ship to a large room. Other crew members were already gathered there. Tae counted about 30 aliens of various species. Some had scales. Some had extra arms. Some had features he could not even describe. All of them turned to look at the humans when they entered. Vela walked to the front of the room. She stood straight and spoke in a clear voice. "As you all know, the Galactic Council has ordered us to accept trainees from newly contacted worlds. Earth is one such world. These two humans will be joining our survey team." A low murmur went through the crowd. Tae heard words like primitives and soft skins whispered among the aliens. Vela continued. "I want to be clear about something. I requested experienced rangers for this mission. Instead, I received these trainees." She looked directly at Tae and Sora. There was no kindness in her eyes. "Let me tell you about humans," Vela said to the crew. "They require 8 hours of sleep every single cycle. 8 hours. Can you imagine? That is 1/3 of their existence spent unconscious and helpless." Some of the aliens laughed. Sora's hands formed fists at her sides. Tae remained still. "They cannot see in thermal spectrums," Vela went on. "They cannot regenerate lost limbs. Their hearing range is extremely limited. They have no natural weapons. No claws, no fangs, no venom. Their skin is soft and tears easily." More laughter filled the room. "In simple terms," Vela said, "humans are a prey species. They evolved on their planet by hiding and running from predators. And now the Council expects me to take them into the field." She shook her head slowly. "They will carry equipment. They will catalog specimens that have already been identified. They will stay close to camp at all times. They will not touch anything important. Is that understood?" She was looking at Tae and Sora now. "Yes, Commander," Sora said through tight lips. Tae simply nodded. The meeting ended, and the crew began to leave. A large reptilian alien with 4 arms approached the humans. His scales were dark green, and his eyes were yellow. He stood nearly 2 meters tall, and his body was thick with muscle. "I am Drex," he said. "Chief of Security." "Nice to meet you," Sora said. Drex studied them for a long moment. His gaze stopped on Tae. There was something in the human's eyes that made Drex pause. He had seen many species in his career. He knew what fear looked like. He knew what prey looked like. This human did not look like prey. "The commander can be harsh," Drex said finally. "Do not take it personally. She judges all newcomers the same way." "We understand," Tae said. His voice was calm and quiet. Drex nodded and walked away. But he looked back once more before leaving the room. There was something about that human. Something he could not quite name. That night, the Wanderer left the station and began its journey to a moon called LV-741. It was supposed to be a simple survey mission. Collect samples. Study the local life forms. Nothing dangerous. Tay sat alone in the observation deck. Through the large window, he could see stars stretching into infinity. He had dreamed of this moment since he was a child. Being among the stars. Seeing things no human had ever seen before. The door opened and Sora walked in. She sat down beside him. "You did not defend yourself," she said. "When Vela mocked us, you just stood there." Tay kept looking at the stars. "Words do not matter. They matter to me. She called us prey animals. She said we were useless. Let her think what she wants." Sora frowned. "And if she never gives us a chance to prove her wrong?" Tay turned to look at his friend. There was a small smile on his face. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something others did not. "She will," he said. "The universe has a way of forcing chances on people." That sounds ominous. It is just the truth. Back on Earth, I learned something important. The moment you think you are safe is the moment danger finds you. Vela thinks this mission is routine. She thinks nothing can go wrong. He looked back at the stars. But space does not care what we think. Something will happen. It always does. And when it does, we will be ready. Sora was quiet for a long moment. "You really believe that?" "I do." She nodded slowly. "Then I will be ready too." They sat together in silence, watching the stars pass by, as the Wanderer carried them toward a moon where their lives would change forever. The shuttle landed on LV-741 with a heavy thud. Tay looked through the small window and saw a world of green. The jungle stretched in every direction. Trees taller than buildings rose toward a gray sky. Strange plants glowed with soft blue and purple light. Mist hung low over the ground. Commander Vela stood up and addressed her team. There were 8 of them. Vela herself. Drex, the security chief. 2 Kirithi scientists named Fen and Mira. 2 other aliens who worked as scouts. And the 2 human trainees. "This is a standard survey mission," Vela said. "We collect samples. We document the local wildlife. We return to the ship. Simple." She looked at Tay and Sora. "You 2 will carry the equipment cases. When we stop to collect samples, you will stay with the cases. Do not wander off. Do not touch anything. Is that clear?" "Yes, Commander," they both said. The shuttle door opened and humid air rushed in. It was thick and warm and smelled of rotting leaves. The team stepped out onto the soft ground. Tay picked up 2 heavy equipment cases. Sora did the same. They followed at the back of the group as Vela led them into the jungle. The plants were strange and beautiful. Flowers opened and closed as they passed. Vines moved slowly like sleeping snakes. Insects the size of birds buzzed through the air. Everything was alive and moving, but Tay noticed something else. Something wrong. As they walked deeper into the jungle, the sounds changed. At first, there had been animal calls. Birds singing. Creatures moving through the bush. Normal jungle sounds. But now, the deeper they went, the quieter it became. Tay looked at the trees around them. He saw marks on the bark. Long scratches. Claw marks. They were high up, about 3 meters from the ground. Whatever made them was big. He looked at the ground. The soil was disturbed in places. Plants were crushed. Something heavy had moved through here recently. He moved closer to Sora and spoke quietly. "Something is wrong." She looked at him. "What do you mean?" "Listen, no animal sounds. The local creatures have left this area. And look at those marks on the trees. Something big has been hunting here." Sora's eyes went wide. She looked around and finally noticed what Tay had seen. The silence. The claw marks. The disturbed ground. "We should tell the commander," she said. "You tell her." "She will not listen to me." Sora moved forward and approached Vela. Tay watched as she spoke. He saw Vela's face change. First confusion, then annoyance, then cold dismissal. Vela turned and looked at Tay with hard eyes. "Human paranoia," she said loudly so everyone could hear. "Your species evolved as prey animals. You see predators everywhere. It is in your nature to be afraid." Some of the team members laughed. "There are no dangerous predators on this moon," Vela continued. "The preliminary scan showed only small wildlife. Your fear is baseless. Now pick up your cases and keep moving." Tay said nothing. He picked up his cases and continued walking. But his eyes never stopped scanning the jungle around them. They made camp as the sun began to set. The two moons of the planet rose in the sky, casting strange double shadows on the ground. The team set up tents and activated an energy shield around the camp. It created a soft blue dome that would keep out wildlife. "This shield will protect us," Vela announced. "Nothing can get through it. We are perfectly safe." Tay was not so sure. He had been watching the jungle all day. He had seen more claw marks, more disturbed ground. And once, just once, he had seen movement in the shadows. Something big and dark, watching them from a distance. He volunteered for extra watch duty. Vela laughed at him. "The shield protects us. There is no need for a watch. But if it makes you feel better, human, you may stand guard and pretend to be useful." Tay took his position at the edge of the camp. Sora brought him water and food. "She really does not like us," Sora said. "It does not matter. Something is out there. I can feel it." "You sound paranoid." "Maybe Vela is right." Tay shook his head. "On Earth, I spent 5 years as a survival instructor. I taught people how to live in the wilderness. I learned to read the signs of nature. And right now, nature is screaming at us. Everything in this jungle knows something we do not." Sora looked at the dark trees beyond the blue light of the shield. "What do you think is out there?" "I do not know. But it is big. It is smart. And it has been watching us since we landed." Hours passed. The camp grew quiet as the others slept. Tay stayed at his post, his eyes fixed on the darkness. Then he saw them, 3 shapes at the edge of the light. They moved slowly, circling the camp. Their movements were smooth and coordinated. This was not random animal behavior. This was a hunting pattern. Tay moved silently to Drex's tent. He touched the security chief's shoulder. Drex woke instantly, his hand reaching for his weapon. "Quiet," Tay whispered. "Look at the edge of the camp. 3 of them, circling." Drex followed Tay outside. When he saw the shapes, his scales went pale. "That movement pattern," Drex said, his voice tight. "That is pack hunting behavior, coordinated, intelligent. They've been testing our perimeter for hours," Tay said. "Learning our defenses." A sound cut through the night. A high, terrible shriek that seemed to come from everywhere at once. It was a sound of pure predatory intent. Drex grabbed Tay's arm. His yellow eyes were wide with fear. "That call. I have heard recordings of it. I know what makes that sound." "What?" "Malcory. The apex hunters. They are the most dangerous predators in the known galaxy. They have wiped out entire colonies. They should not be here. They cannot be here." Another shriek split the air. Closer this time. Drex looked at Tay. For the first time, there was respect in his eyes. "How did you know? How did you see the danger when no one else did?" Tay's face was calm. His breathing was steady. He looked like a man who had faced death before and made peace with it. "On Earth," he said quietly, "we were not always at the top of the food chain. We learned to recognize when we were being hunted. That knowledge is in our blood. Our ancestors survived because they could feel when predator eyes were watching them. The shapes in the darkness grew larger. They were coming closer. "Wake the others," Tay said, "and tell them to prepare for the fight of their lives." The camp erupted into chaos. Drex roared orders as crew members stumbled out of their tents. Weapons were grabbed. People ran in different directions. The blue light of the energy shield flickered above them. Then the shield went down. It did not fail slowly. It died all at once. The blue dome simply disappeared, leaving them exposed to the darkness of the jungle. The generator had been destroyed. Cut cleanly by something sharp and precise, Commander Vela stared at the dead generator with wide eyes. "That is impossible," she whispered. They could not have known where the power source was. They could not have. A Malkori burst from the jungle. Tay saw it clearly for the first time. It was a nightmare made real. 8 legs carried a body of black chitin armor. It stood 3 meters tall. Multiple eyes gleamed in the darkness. Claws the length of swords extended from its front limbs. Its mouth opened to reveal rows of teeth designed for tearing flesh. It moved faster than anything that size should move. The creature slammed into Fen, one of the Kirthi scientists. He screamed as he went down. Mira tried to help him, but another Malkori appeared from the shadows and struck her with terrible force. She flew through the air and hit a tree with a sickening crack. 5 of them. Drex shouted. 5 Malkori! Form a defensive circle. But there was no time. The creatures attacked from all sides. They moved with perfect coordination, cutting off escape routes and separating the team members. Commander Vela stood frozen. Her weapon hung useless in her hand. Her eyes were empty. She had trained for many things, but not for this. The Malkori were legends. Monsters from old stories. Things that civilizations ran from, not fought against. Drex charged at 2 Malkori, who were closing in on the wounded scientists. He was brave and strong. His 4 arms swung his weapons with deadly skill. He managed to wound one of the creatures, cutting a deep gash in its leg. Green blood sprayed the ground, but 2 Malkori were too many. They overwhelmed him. One pinned his arms while the other prepared to strike the killing blow. Tay moved. He did not run away. He did not hide. He ran toward the fight, toward the monsters, toward certain death. On his way, he grabbed a plasma cutter from the scattered equipment. It was a tool, not a weapon. It was meant for cutting metal and rock. But in the right hands, anything could be a weapon. Tay's fingers moved over the controls. In 3 seconds, he changed the settings. He removed the safety limits. He overclocked the power output. The tool began to hum with dangerous energy. The Malkori did not see him coming. They were focused on Drex. They thought the fight was over. Tay reached them and swung the plasma cutter. The superheated blade cut through the leg joint of the first creature. Chitin armor meant nothing. The leg came off and the Malkori screamed. It was a terrible sound. A sound of real pain. A sound these creatures rarely made. The second Malkori released Drex and turned toward Tay. It was fast. But Tay was already moving. He rolled under its strike and came up behind it. Another swing of the plasma cutter. Another wound. Another scream. The creature turned and slashed at him. Tay jumped back, but not fast enough. Claws raked across his arm. Blood flew. Pain exploded through his body. He did not cry out. He did not fall. He kept moving. Across the camp, Sora had found a signal flare launcher. She fired it at the Malkori attacking the scientists. The flare exploded in a burst of intense white light. The creature shrieked and stumbled back, its many eyes temporarily blinded. "Over here!" Sora shouted. "Everyone to me." The survivors began to gather around her. Drex pulled himself up and helped carry the wounded. Vela finally moved, her body responding even though her mind was still frozen. Tay stood between the survivors and the Malkori. His arm was bleeding badly. His clothes were torn, but his face was calm. His breathing was steady. In his hand, the plasma cutter hummed its deadly song. The 5 Malkori regrouped. One was badly wounded. The others were hurt but still dangerous. They circled the human, their compound eyes studying him with alien intelligence. They had hunted thousands of species across hundreds of worlds. They had killed creatures 10 times their size. They had never lost a hunt, and yet this small, soft-skinned creature had wounded them, had hurt them, had made them bleed. They did not understand. Drex stared at Tay with amazement. "What are you?" he whispered. Tay did not answer. His eyes were locked on the largest Malkori, the pack leader, the one making the decisions. Commander Vela found her voice at last. What are you doing?" she asked Tay. "You should be running. Your species runs. You are prey. You should be running." Tay still did not look at her. His attention was completely on the enemy. It was Sora who answered. "Humans do not run," she said. She moved to stand beside Tay, the flare launcher ready in her hands. "Not when our people are behind us." The pack leader made a sound, a clicking, chattering noise. The other Malkori responded. They began to spread out again, preparing for another attack. But something had changed. They moved more carefully now, more cautiously. They had expected easy prey. They had found something else. Tay raised the plasma cutter. "Come then," he said softly. "Let us see who is the hunter and who is the prey." The Malkori attacked, and for the first time in their existence, they discovered what it meant to fight a human who refused to be prey. They ran through the jungle in the darkness. Tay led the way. Behind him came Sora, then Drex carrying one of the wounded, then Vela and the others. The Malkori followed. They could hear the creatures moving through the trees, keeping pace, watching, waiting. There, Tay pointed ahead. A rock formation rose from the jungle floor. Large boulders created natural walls. A small cave offered shelter. It was not perfect, but it was defensible. The survivors rushed inside. Tay counted them. 7 remained. Fen and one of the scouts had not made it. The cost was already too high. "Block the openings," Tay said. "Use the equipment cases. Stack them high." The others looked at him. Then they looked at Commander Vela. She was supposed to be in charge. But Vela stood silent, her eyes distant, her mind still trying to process the horror she had witnessed. Drex spoke. "Do what he says, now." They moved. Rocks and cases and debris formed walls across the gaps in the boulders. Soon they had created a small fortress with only one entrance. One narrow passage that the Malkori would have to squeeze through. Tay examined their resources. 3 working weapons. The plasma cutter with limited power remaining. Some tools that could be used for fighting. Signal flares. Medical supplies. Water for maybe one day. Sora worked on the communication device. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "I have contact with the Wanderer," she announced. "They know we are in trouble, but rescue will take at least 8 hours. The shuttle needs repairs from the landing." 8 hours, Drex repeated. His voice was grim. "Can we survive that long?" Tay did not answer directly. Instead, he began to work. He used wire from the equipment to create trip alarms at the entrance. He positioned rocks that could be pushed down on attackers. He identified the best positions for their limited fighters. "Here's what will happen," he said. "The Malkori will test our defenses. They will probe for weaknesses. They are intelligent hunters. They do not attack blindly. They learn. How do you know this?" Myra asked. She was wounded, but still conscious. "Because that is what smart predators do. On Earth, We had animals like this. Lions, wolves, great white sharks. They all hunted the same way. Watch, learn, strike when the prey makes a mistake. He pointed to different positions in their small fortress. Drex, you guard the main entrance. You are the strongest. Sora, you stay high on that rock with the flares. Blind them when they attack. The rest of you, stay back and tend to the wounded. And you? Drex asked. I will be wherever I am needed. The first attack came within the hour. 2 Malkori rushed the entrance at once. They squeezed through the narrow gap, their claws reaching for Drex. But the space was too small for them to use their size advantage. Drex met them with all 4 arms swinging. Sora fired flares that exploded in their faces. They retreated, wounded, angry, but not beaten. That was just a test, Tay said. They will try something different next time. He was right. The second attack came from above. A Malkori tried to climb over the rocks. But Tay had prepared for this. He pushed a pile of loose stones down. The creature fell back with a screech. The third attack was more subtle. Only 1 Malkori approached, making noise at the entrance. The others tried to sneak around the sides. Tay's triple arms caught them. The wire sang as it was disturbed. Sora fired flares into the darkness. The ambush failed. Hours passed. Attack after attack. The Malkori were relentless, but so were the defenders. Each time the creatures tried something new, Tay found a counter. His mind worked without rest, always thinking, always planning. During a pause between attacks, Drex sat down heavily beside Tay. The Torvian was exhausted. Green blood seeped from several wounds. You have done this before, Drex said. Not against Malkori, but something. Tay nodded slowly. On Earth, I was a survival instructor. I taught people how to stay alive when everything wanted them dead. Deserts, mountains, jungles, the ocean. Earth has many ways to kill you. But this is different. This is combat. All survival is combat. You fight the environment. You fight hunger and thirst. You fight your own fear. And sometimes, you fight predators who see you as food. Commander Vela approached them. Her face had changed. The arrogance was gone. In its place was something new. Something like shame. I was wrong about your species, she said quietly. I called you prey animals. I was a fool. Tay looked at her. There was no anger in his eyes. No satisfaction. Just calm understanding. You were not wrong, he said. We were prey. Long ago, when our ancestors first walked on 2 legs, they were hunted by everything. Lions, hyenas, giant eagles, snakes. Everything wanted to eat us. Then how did you survive? You have no claws. No fangs. No armor. Tay smiled. It was a strange smile. The smile of someone who knew a secret. We survived by being relentless. Other animals are stronger than us. Faster than us. Their senses are sharper than ours. But we have something they do not have. We never stop. We can walk and run longer than any creature on Earth. When we hunt, we chase our prey until it collapses from exhaustion. When we are hunted, we fight and run and hide and fight again. Hour after hour, day after day, until the predator gives up. He looked toward the entrance where the Malkori waited in the darkness. That is what humans are. We are the species that refuse to die. We faced extinction 100 times. Ice ages, plagues, predators, and every single time we survived. Because we do not know how to give up. A sound came from outside. The pack leader had appeared at the edge of the rocks. It was larger than the others. Old scars marked its black chitin armor. It had led thousands of hunts. It had never failed. It studied Tay with its compound eyes. And in those alien eyes, Tay saw something unexpected. Not just hunger. Not just predatory instinct. Recognition. Tay stood up. He walked toward the entrance. Toward the monster. "What are you doing?" Sora called out, ending this. He stepped outside, alone, facing the pack leader with empty hands. His plasma cutter lay behind him. He had no weapon, just himself. The pack leader rose to its full height. 3 meters of depth and chitin claws. Tay did not run. He did not even flinch. He walked toward it. Dawn was breaking over LV-741. The first light of the sun touched the tops of the giant trees. Mist rose from the jungle floor. Somewhere in the distance, birds began to sing again. The world was waking up. But in the clearing before the rock formation, time had stopped. Tay walked toward the pack leader. Each step was slow and deliberate. His eyes never left the creature. His hands hung empty at his sides. Blood still dripped from the wound on his arm. He looked small. He looked weak. He looked like prey. The pack leader watched him come. The other 4 Malkori formed a circle around the clearing. They did not attack. They waited. This was between the pack leader and the human now. Inside the fortress, Sora moved to follow Tay. Drex grabbed her arm. "Let me go," she said. "He will die out there." "Look," Drex said. His voice was strange. "Look at what is happening." Sora looked. She saw the Malkori standing still. She saw their eyes fixed on Tay. She saw the way they held their ground instead of attacking. "It is a dominance display," she whispered, understanding finally hitting her. "He's challenging the pack leader, directly, one-on-one." The pack leader let out a low growl. Then it lunged. Tay moved, not away from the attack. Into it. He dropped low and slid under the creature's claws. His hand found a jagged rock on the ground. As he passed beneath the Malkori, he drove the rock upward. It pierced the softer chitin between armor plates. Green blood sprayed. The pack leader screamed and spun around. One massive claw swept toward Tay's head. He ducked. The claw missed by inches. He came up on the creature's side and struck again. Another wound. More blood. The Malkori was faster than him. Stronger than him. Its claws could cut him in half with a single blow. But it could not hit him. Every time it attacked, Tay was somewhere else. He moved constantly, never staying in one place, always circling, always striking. It was not skill that kept him alive. It was not speed or strength. It was something older, something primal, something written into human blood over millions of years. Persistence. Tay was bleeding from a dozen cuts. His body screamed with pain. Any normal creature would have stopped, would have run, would have collapsed. But Tay was not a normal creature. He was human, and humans did not stop, ever. The pack leader attacked again and again. Each time, Tay avoided the killing blow. Each time, he left another wound. Small cuts, shallow slashes. Alone, they were nothing. Together, they began to add up. Minutes passed. The pack leader started to slow. Not from any single injury, but from exhaustion. It had never fought prey like this before. Prey was supposed to die or run. This human did neither. He just kept coming. He just kept fighting. No matter how many times he was hit, no matter how much he bled. He would not stop. The pack leader struck again. This time, Tay caught the claw on his forearm. The chitin blade cut deep. Bone showed white beneath the torn flesh. The pain was beyond anything Tay had ever felt. He did not scream. He did not fall. He grabbed the claw with both hands and held on. His blood ran down the creature's arm. His eyes met its compound eyes. And in that moment, the pack leader saw something it had never seen before. No fear. There was no fear in the human's eyes, only cold, endless determination. The look of a creature that would rather die than surrender. The look of a predator that had forgotten how to be prey. Tay headbutted the pack leader. His skull cracked against the creature's faceplate. Stars exploded in his vision. But the Malkori reeled back, surprised and hurt. Tay fell to his knees. He was barely conscious. Blood poured from his wounds. He should have been dead already. He should have died 100 times during this fight. He forced himself back to his feet. The pack leader watched him rise. Watched this tiny, broken, bleeding creature refuse to stay down. Watched him raise his fists, ready to continue. Something changed in the Malkori's eyes. It made a sound. Low and guttural. Not a threat. Something else. Submission. The pack leader lowered itself to the ground. Its compound eyes turned away. The universal sign of surrender among predators. Tay stood over it, swaying on his feet. He raised a jagged rock, ready to deliver the killing blow. He held it there for a long moment. Then he dropped it. He turned his back on the pack leader. A deliberate choice. A message. He walked away without looking back. Only a dominant predator could do that. Only something that did not fear attack from behind. The pack leader rose slowly. It looked at Tay's retreating back. Then it looked at its pack. It made another sound. A command. The Malkori began to retreat. One by one, they disappeared into the jungle. The pack leader was the last to go. It paused at the edge of the clearing and looked back one final time. Then it was gone. Tay collapsed. Sora and Drex caught him before he hit the ground. They carried him back into the fortress. Sora pressed bandages to his wounds while tears ran down her face. "You stupid, brave fool," she said. "You almost died." Tay managed a weak smile. "Almost only counts with explosives." Commander Vela knelt beside him. Her face was pale. Her voice shook when she spoke. "I have served in the Rangers for 30 years. I have seen many things, but I have never seen what I saw today. The Malkori have never retreated. Never. They do not acknowledge other species as threats." "They acknowledged him," Drex said quietly, "but not as an equal." He looked at the jungle where the Malkori had disappeared. They acknowledged him as a greater predator. The rescue shuttle arrived 4 hours later. The crew of the Wanderers stared at the survivors as they boarded. Word had already spread about what happened. About the human who faced the apex hunters alone. Before they lifted off, Sora saw something at the edge of the jungle. The pack leader had returned. It stood watching the shuttle, its compound eyes tracking Tay until the door closed. "What do you think it is doing?" she asked. Tay looked out the window. His arm was bandaged. His body was broken, but his eyes were clear. "Learning," he said. "It will tell others." Malkori communicate across their hunting grounds. They share information about dangerous prey. Dangerous prey? Tay nodded. "A warning will spread. Do not hunt the humans. They are not prey. They are something else. Something even apex hunters should fear." The shuttle lifted off. LV-741 fell away beneath them. V-741 fell away. 741 fell away beneath them. The jungle moon grew smaller and smaller until it was just another point of light among the stars. Weeks later, Galactic Ranger Command received strange reports. Malkori activity had decreased by 40% in sectors where humans had been recorded. No one could explain why, but those who knew about LV-741 understood. The greatest predators in the galaxy had met their match. Not through superior technology, not through advanced weapons, through something far older and far more terrifying. They had met a species that evolution had built for one purpose: survival. A species that had looked at a universe full of things trying to kill it and had said, simply, no. a species that had refused to be prey. They had met humanity, and humanity had taught them the oldest lesson in the Vashvales. In the finite universe, the most dangerous creature is not the one with the sharpest claws or the strongest muscles. It is the one that never, ever gives up.